Imagine waking up every morning feeling completely normal, while something inside your body is slowly becoming less effective. And the surprising part, you may not notice anything at all. That something is your kidneys. Kidney function can change gradually without giving you a dramatic warning. And that's why the everyday choices you make, sometimes without even thinking about them, are worth paying attention to. One of the simplest places to start is with something you probably reach for several times a day. What are you drinking? In this video, we're looking at 5 drinks that may fit into a healthier beverage pattern after 60, including what may be worth choosing more often, what may be better limited, and the details that can completely change whether a drink is a good choice for you. And we're starting with the most obvious one: water. You might think there's nothing surprising about water. But here's the part that makes it more interesting. Water isn't powerful because it's special. It's powerful because of what it replaces. Imagine it's a warm afternoon. You're standing in the kitchen, you're thirsty, and you open the refrigerator. You could reach for a soda, sweetened tea, or another sugary drink. Or you could pour yourself a glass of water. That simple substitution means you're avoiding the added sugar and extra calories that can come with many sweetened beverages. And that's the real advantage. You don't need to think of water as some kind of kidney cleanse product. Its value can come from making a less helpful beverage less likely to become part of your daily routine. But there's one important caution. More water isn't automatically better for everyone with kidney disease. Some people with reduced kidney function or other medical conditions may be given specific fluid limits. If your healthcare professional has told you to restrict fluids, those instructions come first. So don't follow a generic rule from the internet telling you that everyone needs a certain number of glasses every day. For people without a prescribed fluid restriction, water can be a straightforward way to stay hydrated while avoiding unnecessary added sugar from sweetened drinks. And there's one more misconception worth clearing up. You may have seen expensive beverages, powders, or kidney detox waters promising to flush or cleanse your kidneys. You don't need a special product to make water useful. Plain water can support normal hydration, but it isn't a treatment for damaged kidneys. The better question is much simpler. What drink would water replace in your routine? If the answer is a sugary drink you have every afternoon, that's a practical change worth paying attention to. So here's a question for you. What's the drink you reach for most often when you're thirsty? Keep that answer in mind, because the next drink is where things get more interesting. It looks healthy. It sounds healthy. But when you buy it in a bottle, what's inside can be surprisingly different from what the front label makes you think. Unsweetened tea. The second drink is unsweetened tea. And here's the surprise. The tea itself may be a reasonable choice, but the moment you pick it up from a refrigerator shelf, it can become a very different drink. Tea naturally contains plant compounds called polyphenols, which have been studied for their potential relationships with cardiovascular and metabolic health. But you don't need to think of tea as a special kidney treatment. The practical advantage is much simpler. Unsweetened tea can give you flavor without unnecessary added sugar. And this is where the grocery aisle matters. Imagine you're standing in front of a refrigerator case looking at 2 bottles. Both have pictures of tea leaves and fruit on the front. Both look refreshing. Then you turn one around. The nutrition label tells a different story. One bottle may be unsweetened, while another contains a substantial amount of added sugar. So don't judge tea by the picture on the front. Judge it by what's added inside. That's an easy detail to overlook, especially when the packaging makes a drink look wholesome. And the same idea applies at home. If you make tea yourself, you have much more control over what goes into the cup. You can enjoy the flavor without automatically turning it into a sugary beverage. Now, if you already have kidney disease, your beverage choices can depend on your kidney function, fluid needs, medications, and any dietary restrictions you've been given. So a drink that works well for one person doesn't necessarily belong in another person's routine. But you don't need to make this complicated. If unsweetened tea fits your individual guidance, it can be a simple way to add variety when you're tired of drinking plain water. And here's the lesson worth remembering. A healthy-sounding name doesn't tell you everything about a drink. Sometimes the biggest difference isn't the main ingredient. It's what the manufacturer, or you, adds to it. And our third drink takes that idea even further. Because this time, the word on the front of the bottle sounds almost impossible to question. Vegetable. You might assume that means the drink is automatically a smart choice. But there's one number on the back of the bottle that can change the decision very quickly. Sodium. The third drink is low-sodium vegetable juice. And this is where the front of the bottle can make a drink sound healthier than it actually is. Vegetable juice sounds like an automatic good choice, but before you pour a glass, there's one number worth checking first. Sodium. Some packaged vegetable juices can contain a surprising amount of sodium. So the next time you're standing in the grocery store, you'll know exactly where to look first. Turn the bottle around and compare the sodium on the nutrition label. And there's one small detail that's easy to miss. Serving size. A bottle may look like one drink, while the nutrition label lists more than one serving. So the amount you actually drink may be different from what you first assume. But just when you think you've found the number that matters, there's another one to check. Potassium. Your body needs potassium for normal functions, including helping muscles and nerves work properly. So potassium isn't something you should automatically think of as bad. But when kidney function is reduced, some people may have difficulty keeping potassium levels in the normal range. That means a vegetable juice that's fine for one person may not be the right choice for someone else. And this is where people often get confused. The question isn't simply, is vegetable juice healthy? The better question is, does this particular juice fit my needs? If you've been given a specific sodium or potassium target, use that guidance when choosing your beverages. You don't need to memorize every number on every bottle. You just need to know which numbers matter for your situation. And here's the takeaway I want you to remember. The healthiest looking bottle isn't always the healthiest choice. And if you're paying attention to what you're drinking for your kidneys, don't forget that food matters too. I've also made a video about 5 foods that may be worth limiting and 5 better choices for kidney health. You can watch that one through the link appearing on screen. And if these practical kidney tips are helping you, tap the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And tell me in the comments, when you read a nutrition label, what do you usually check first? Now you might be thinking, what if I just make the vegetable juice myself? That gives you more control over the ingredients, but homemade doesn't automatically mean appropriate for everyone. If you've been given sodium, potassium, or fluid limits, those still matter. So the lesson here isn't that vegetable juice is good or bad. It's that the bottle deserves a closer look than the front label gets. And now we're moving to a drink that millions of people have with breakfast. But before I reveal it, think about your own morning routine. You wake up, walk into the kitchen, and reach for your favorite mug. What you add to that cup may matter more than you think. Millions of people think coffee is the problem, but they may be looking at the wrong part of the cup. Coffee. The coffee itself isn't automatically a problem for your kidneys. What often deserves more attention is what gets added to it. Think about a typical morning. You pour your coffee, add flavored creamer, a little sugar, or a syrup because you prefer the taste, and move on with your day. The coffee may be simple, but those additions can turn an everyday drink into something much higher in added sugar and calories. So if coffee is already part of your routine, you don't necessarily need to eliminate it just because you're thinking about kidney health. Instead, look at the whole drink. Coffee contains naturally occurring compounds, including caffeine and other plant compounds. Research has examined coffee consumption in relation to cardiovascular and metabolic health, but that doesn't establish coffee as a treatment for kidney disease. Caffeine can also affect people differently. If it interferes with your sleep, causes uncomfortable symptoms, or doesn't fit with your medications or health circumstances, that's worth paying attention to. But the practical takeaway is simple. The coffee usually isn't the problem. Everything added to it often is. And the last drink surprises people for a completely different reason. The confusion doesn't come from what's inside the glass. It starts with the words printed on the carton. Milk. Milk or an unsweetened milk alternative can sometimes be a useful replacement for a sugary beverage, but the nutritional profile matters. Milk can provide useful nutrients such as protein and calcium, but it also naturally contains phosphorus and potassium. For some people with chronic kidney disease, those nutrients may need to be monitored or limited. And plant-based alternatives aren't automatically better. Some products may contain added sugars, while others have different amounts of phosphorus, potassium, protein, or other nutrients. Imagine you're standing in the grocery aisle with two cartons in your hands. Instead of choosing based only on words like natural, healthy, or plant-based, turn the carton around and look at the nutrition information. What's printed on the front of the carton matters far less than what's printed on the nutrition label. If you've been given specific dietary limits for kidney disease, those recommendations should guide your choice. And that brings us to the bigger lesson behind these 5 drinks. You don't need to memorize a perfect list of beverages. You need to learn how to make choices that fit your own situation. Water can replace sugary drinks. Unsweetened tea can provide flavor without unnecessary added sugar. Vegetable juice deserves a closer look at the label. Coffee can be kept simple. And milk or a milk alternative may work for some people, depending on their nutritional needs. If you have chronic kidney disease, your best choices can depend on your kidney function, fluid needs, medications, and dietary restrictions. If you've been given specific instructions, those come first. And if you're concerned about your kidney health, talk with your healthcare professional about appropriate testing. Kidney function isn't something you can reliably judge from how healthy a drink looks or simply from how you feel. Now I'd like to ask you, which of these 5 drinks is already part of your daily routine, and which one surprised you the most? If this video helped you look at your everyday beverages differently, tap the like button and subscribe for more practical, evidence-based health information. You don't need perfection. You don't need expensive products. And you don't need miracle drinks. Small, consistent choices can matter far more than flashy promises. Kidney changes can happen quietly, but your everyday choices don't have to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.